That's hilarious.
How's it going?
Alex, what is your color temperature?
I'm using like 5700.
57?
Yeah, it's the
It's close though.
you know, it's got the blue light coming from behind, so if you set it on auto, it's probably gonna screw up.
There was in 54.
Yeah, I maybe use, it's either 57 or 55, but I'm on the Sony's.
Yep.
I'm at 55. And that works fairly well.
Yeah, 57
But it's gonna take some work. I have to work it every time I'm in here, because if you look up, the LEDs are all different color temperatures.
Yep.
You see how the tape? But we have to go outside. See what I mean? See who's got shit.
And when are the
Tape. I'll get that to you.
Well, looks like we have time for.
Yeah, go get some coffee. You got plenty of time.
I'm not sure if we'll worry about this.
But haven't had to probably change
Yeah, you probably did for us.
Yes, I think they have it at the address. But I will read you 3.
Use your mask.
Actually, no, I don't. I'm sorry. No problem.
It don't work. Windows photos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it has to be AP every time you're doing this. I mean, I wish EPA could.
That's a good question.
We only got 3 photographers in town, I suppose.
I don't think that's what.
I mean, you're welcome. I mean, you're welcome to send somebody to sit here all day. I got a gray card. Would you want that gray card? You know, they sell these things on the internet.
Do you listen to your wife now?
Yeah.
How about I listen to his shirt?
Oh, that would be commitment.
You can have an actual gray card if you want. It's up to you.
That works.
Yep.
Thank you.
But the shirt's cream, it's not white. That's white. Compared to your mask, it's cream.
Do the mask.
Should done the best too. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, no, I came in, the tape marks were all there. Absolutely. That's it? Yeah, all I did is wait. Ah. Yeah, no, I'm happy to move it. I mean, how far we move it? Just a couple inches, right?
So key things here would be, as long as you're centering the view, so actually I would probably do is just
Take this apart.
based on what you can see from your shot, how it would look level.
Yeah. I'm just worried about your jacket.
Oh, thanks a lot, good eye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah?
Cool, you're good, you're good. Just don't wanna have like a tripod sitting on your jacket. That looks pretty.
Maybe too far, yeah.
Gone a little too far? Sounds like
Just a little bit more, a little bit more.
a little too far this time. Focus.
How's that, sir? Seems about right.
That's about right.
Very good.
You could pan a little bit right on the camera.
Yeah, no, let's make it in. Because I'm actually forward from where I was.
You're good?
Oh, I see.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That's all. That's really, really hard. Anybody that said it isn't is still non-existent. I am easy. Easy like Sunday morning. Giggles all around for that one. Yeah.
It's not quite.
What's that?
again? That's all right. Look at this. Yeah.
I'm not, I was here before this.
Crazy.
Yeah, they can, and when you do, you just have to, replace them. This is awesome. Sometimes it's the internal, so you guys are replacing it right here. Sometimes it's this, and then sometimes it's this, so that's why you.
That one's got the wrong number of stars. Nobody knows. It went back through.
Well, no,
Somebody might start screaming on the producer bridge. This is as close as they've let us get to him in like over a year, or about a year. Right? Because all that stuff in Wilmington, did you ever watch the theater? It was cool. Like they took over that theater, and then he was always on stage. So it's like you're taking in the matinee, but never within probably 30 minutes.
Did you ever take questions in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But they used the entire, they cleared out all the seats, they had all their tech stuff in there, and then they could set it up with different looks, whether or not they were sitting, or whether he had somebody with him on the stage, but very, very distant. He, Mark, we were all much further apart, everyone circles.
The Salat painting, the lady with the umbrella and the points and the grass.
It was great for them, because they had places that they could go, have meetings in the building, and it's really the only place in town anymore. Except for church.
I mean, it is.
Oh, yeah. It always looked cool on TV.
Yeah, but Ranger,
10-minute drive from the house.
Did the same. Look around.
I call it.
The reason I know
They're used to, they got it.
The end of the cable is connected in there, because this is a wear point too. This is only one possibility, and then where it's soldered in here, this connection on this end, that's another.
Oh, good.
And then where the connection is from the pins that are inside of this connector here. So in general,
Good morning.
Is this still happening at peak?
They did. You can hear it. He's right, but, yeah.
I have to know that.
Well, I hope it's, I mean, I love it for it in my head. Yeah,
We're gonna find that out now.
So New Orleans, you know. I'd love to, I'd like to.
Wait, isn't that, he told me he was doing that, or he was like, about
You know, because I don't understand. It's great.
and I have no idea, I think there's like some.
It's on that screen right behind you.
Okay, I mean, I can keep reading stuff, of course, but then,
That's the amount I'm gonna look
what about the 6 p.m.? Okay. China, just China. Yeah, I wondered, I asked them to clarify this. Not yet. Yeah, I can. However much time I have. Or just do that on my phone. I did, but I don't know how, I think they're going to go see him do something. I think the
Or if it is,
I think they're probably going to contact him. So I think it's probably, but I think it's.
John will get better at it. The more beers he had, he's one of those rare folks. You hold the slice would be half pencil, like cold, more beer.
And then look at the show, and because it'll be a weird and well, and we took it as one year and
They bring the cards to you out there. Load you.
that one, not the one we're supposed to, that one. Yes, because what I was talking about is space here and the space there. Is what I was trying to get at. Is it balanced? For me, it's subjective. Yours and they like yours.
I'm playing it does. Felt like a good shot.
on. You won't have time, you will not have time to apply.
I sat there and considered it all. I don't know if they checked the residents. Since they've been keeping the trains running on time now. At least relatively.
So what's our new?
This is the Pentagon?
So this is. Tomorrow, Mr. Green Chief.
Yeah, like a thinner rectangle.
Hey, Admiral, how are you doing?
man?
Good to see you.
Say hey to your dad.
I will.
Well, you know, I'm gonna be here a while, it's not like.
Yeah, I know, but.
Well, do you want to take it with you down?
No, because I can't.
Yeah, so they, when Colin's readiness for home, you know what you need, so you shut your eye open, like clearly hit the locker open, it's locked up and locked. Before that, I was surprised.
He said, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He
It
said,
took me about 2 days, but.
no, he said farm before.
Oh, has he? Yeah, so he couldn't make it today, hopefully he'll get it. I haven't heard.
That's so purple. So purple. Kid that happened.
No, I'll do that.
And, you know, it's like a white fly, and then set it down. A white fly. Put it in the truck. It's weird, mine is actually kind of middle. So since then, it's.
Yeah, get it with the shirt.
Not.
Get it with the shirt.
My shoulders are.
Yeah, I don't use that for you, but yeah.
Someday.
We have a little one.
Someday.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's the That's the, I was at the state court.
Getting there. Yeah, I mean,
Sex state.
the muscle memory you lose. I've been at the podium for 6 years. So, I made some mistakes on the first go around too. I just have to slow down a little bit, study a little bit harder, but it's fun.
How big is your press pool with social distancing and everything? Like, how many people do you guys?
This is pretty much what it looks like when I bring it. Yeah, this is exactly how, and so I think we can get a maximum.
I'm using the 55, and it's gonna be a little bit, I'm gonna have to tone it up. Jenny can tell her, because see the blue, is the thing, you don't sell like those, it's gonna.
So when I go to the podium, I'll have
That
those
little
people
ball.
calling in.
And the problem is you can leave your LEDs
See
on
them
all
all
of
in
you.
the control room, and I just call them, and they go. So I go back and forth between the calls, so what is in the room? And they've been going about an hour now. It's no longer than we used to be. And it's the beginning, I think after a few weeks, attendance will probably start to decline, and the length will probably shorten. Right now, they're
Sir, you can be up there, sir. Need you to get down from the podium.
Working for my Fox and Friends.
You wanna go on Fox and Friends? Yeah, that's fine. We can make that happen. We can make that happen. I'll have them call, they'll probably call you before you leave the room.
Brian's a sport. He teaches a class.
Dude, you can't rush the quality.
Zoomed in and spoke to us.
Actually, you can
The whole
rush it.
night. Fox News, the influence and all that.
Are you still teaching?
That was great.
I had to give it up.
I knew.
But I had just finished in December. Anyway, so I was done.
Who's the Times
About to get
today?
until next fall, and then this.
Oh, who's eyes pink?
No, I won't.
Oh, yeah.
be teaching yet for a while. But it's a great, it's a lot of work. But it's great. It's a lot of fun. You get that immediate feedback from the students. It's quite something.
It's quite a setup.
We're in what we call the non-lugar complex, which is up on the third floor, almost right above us. So that's that way a little bit. It's big, it's the secretary's main complex. And, more people in there. There's about, I think, 18. Everybody. I think the goal was to Boston sort of wants to priorities are, and then Chairman Milley, certain operations. So he has a sense of what the military is doing.
A lot. What's going on? The armor.
Well, what we're hoping for is sort of a baseline. Where do we have enough, where do we need more, where do we need less? And then the jobs are doing the right jobs. So there's more specific. China really is the big threat. We need to add, right now, we have 60% of the force is in the Pacific region or on the rim, including California, Alaska, Hawaii. Is that right? I don't know. So they're gonna look at that. And I think, as I've been telling our principal, you've got two parallel processes with respect to Afghanistan. You've got the view on Afghanistan, and you have this global posture, no informal. So I suspect coming out of this too, we'll have a better sense of how many people do we need in the Middle East. I think we have sent how many OR, don't quote me, but I think it's 30 people or something like that. It's big, it looks and Afghanistan's only one small part of it, it's 2,500. So they'll take a look at each fleet and decide what they like.
The Trump plan to pull some people out of Germany and put them in Poland, I know that's been set aside, but do you need people in Poland? I mean, it's just in addition to Germany?
Whether we need people in Poland or not, I think is going to be part of the discussion, but Poland's a
You need me to mix it? Does it look, I mean, it's kind of off, but is it serviceable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good. This is natural.
Good.
This is natural.
Cool. 5 lines.
Yeah.
You be muted?
It will actually be more, but
Dragon.
it's because of how it's sitting right now.
Is there any lingering feelings still, are you guys still dealing with the effects of the delayed transition here? Or just in terms of the delayed cooperation between outgoing administration and your team?
I told you. I'm telling you.
It's gonna take some work.
You know, you guys treat me like I'm a newbie, okay?
I'm actually really good at Wi-Fi.
Well, okay, well, sure. You didn't do it your way. Do it your way.
3 times. You
Do
didn't
it your way. I've never white balanced either.
You have to trust your colleague.
It's my first day. First time in this room, too.
I didn't have a problem. Our place was very courteous, very generous. Came to the house, dropped off stuff. You know, because of COVID, I couldn't come in to see him. So, you know, for me, it wasn't bad. Plus, I've been here before. Didn't need a lot. Trying to get
I tried, it didn't, yeah.
It was only in certain areas where it was
You have to change the exposure.
unnecessary.
Right.
But I think we're up and running now. Yeah. 15 minutes. Just got the on board yesterday. She's amazing. I think she's in the meeting. I'll probably be on that.
T-Max, baby.
I won't be stepping on the president's toes.
Thank you very much.
Audio check. This is an audio check from the offstage announce mic. This is an audio check from the offstage announce mic. Audio check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Making sure we have good levels. This is the offstage announce microphone. Making sure we have a good test. Test. Audio check. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Audio check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a test of the backup announce. This is just a test of the backup announce. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, and the Secretary of Defense. Thank you.
Thanks for the warning.
Well, that's what I did.
Run camera.
I just want to get out of your way. I'm cool and I don't want to be in your, if you want to be someplace I am, I can be. What's up to you? What'd you do to your lens hood?
I was on the back of a seat, it fell. So it's jammed on. I need to figure out how to break it off, get a new one. It's just, you know, it's $60 for a lens.
It's only money and it's not your money.
True. But
As David H. said.
Piece of plastic.
Do a Pablo special on Amazon for $5.
I looked for a third party and they,
No, not for the Sony yet.
no one makes them.
Yeah, not for the Sony.
Thankfully, it doesn't show up in the frame.
$60 lens hood or, you know, $400 repair.
Yeah.
That's a $60 lens hood.
Haven't you ever had the lens hood patch that it wouldn't have?
I have. Occasionally. But I've also done that, and I'm willing to sacrifice the occasional bang.
Right. Yeah, so I think
For the crash.
thankfully, yeah, the glass is fine. Just need to figure out a way to stack it off.
By the way, I have trouble. I need these anymore because
Right, exactly. You and Nick lost.
actually, I haven't seen
The suites.
Yeah, I shot it with a 600, which is too bad. No, everybody's there. It was originally a gold, which would have been great, but now there's no.
Great guy.
British accent?
No, short, or he was not short, he was almost like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Really nice.
No, he was not a nice guy to me at all.
Really?
The younger one.
Is he, did he permanently move out there, or is this like a pandemic thing?
I think it's a pandemic thing, but it may not be a permanent thing, I just don't know. I hope he's getting some.
Alright, folks who are not staying in the room, so that's my travel pool TV crew, my White House TV travel crew. And anybody else that I've missed, which I think is maybe someone else from Wonka? Nope, that's probably it, yeah. No. We're gonna head over to our little hold room. They still have the place. Here's to the producer. As far as I know, I don't know that
I'll meet you at your desk.
I haven't got this message like.
There you go.
Thank you, what's that? And now.
Only the travel pool TV crew. Everybody else is still there. Cuts crew is what I should have said. You know what, I made it more difficult for everybody. If you don't have the cuts crew or White House TV, you can.
And you say we have to go to the bar now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll meet y'all at happy hour later.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please silence all cellular devices. I say again, please silence all cell phones. Thank you.
So I just sat there, and then like the next.
Wait,
I don't know, there must be, getting ready for the.
are there service members in the building watching this somewhere, or is it going out?
Yeah, in their offices.
In their offices.
So it's gonna be, obviously streamed on our website, but we also have an interior TV channel.
Okay, so it's not like everybody is in one other place watching it somewhere.
People will be watching from our office if they want it. And then we're also beaming it live over Armed Forces Network around the world.
Great.
I've never had any disagreement with any official forever. I get along great with, the previous guy, Mitch, that got away with the Orioles.
That's why I was just texting. Yeah, they brought him up. Yeah, he called me. I'm not here in person.
You know, Phil and the Dreams, the Lloyd.
Oh, yeah.
But he
I
never
know
said,
Phil
hey,
really.
fit in.
Getting to know the Dreams. So he wasn't here when I left. Spent many miles traveling with Phil.
Shoot there a little while, and he just expected you.
There was nowhere for me to move to. I literally was not permitted to move anywhere else. It was
Except
flat
over
okay.
there.
He never asked me to do that.
I think he did at the beginning, that's why there was communication. It was, yeah, I wasn't there, I didn't. Not much help. But that's why I said, it was communication.
Well, it doesn't matter because he's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Wisconsin's next week.
Well, Wisconsin next week. That's his first out of town, right?
Correct, outside of the Delaware weekend, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, first official out-of-town trip.
Yes.
Hey, it's Peter Ducey at Pentagon. We don't have any updated guidance on timing, so as of right now, we expect 250, but I'll advise if that changes. Thanks.
He's got a wristband. He has a wristband. That means I'm gonna be there.
He's safe.
Oh my God.
But apparently he can't be inside.
Oh my God.
You don't actually have to be employed to go to White House. In case you're on the bar.
That's what I did.
EPA is actually German for non-bar. I'm live here. I'm not a cat. I'm prepared to move forward.
What does it sound at the beginning?
No, I don't know how to remove it.
My grandkids, hold on a second. How did it, no, we're up. Did you notice that at the beginning, they went strict, where is my?
So speaking of viral, AFP had a story about my picture from Mar-a-Lago 3 years ago. 4 years ago. It's a picture from Mar-a-Lago. He thinks speaking of the troops a lot. And someone yanked it off our library and said, tweeted, "This is Trump in his office, his new office at Mar-a-Lago," which of course it is not. And it was, and so much so that AFP had to write a story that that's not what that is.
Oh, no.
That's pretty funny. missed the walk-in?
No, I missed the older lighting.
Oh my God. Social media does not pay you any money.
Call me a romantic. No, it just
The one thing that's paying you, the other thing is fun. Which one do you do? If you do the thing that's paying you,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the last standing AV person. We're about to fix that.
The last time.
Well, you better read that splash page and what it says. I won't log onto it. No. It says they can access your device and everything on it at any time. You have a lot? Since when? You didn't get to go to Super Bowl, Pat. What happened?
Did you watch it? I didn't catch any of it.
I did. I watched it.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Was it?
Yeah, it was funny.
I didn't look how happy with Sam's.
A little more than a third.
Okay.
But you couldn't tell because they got cardboard cutouts
I
in
was wondering. Okay.
every other seat.
No, I.
Except for that, DMZ down low.
Okay.
Now they covered seats at Redskins
Oh,
stuff.
ads or
Same
whatever.
kind of thing. Did you see? Did you follow Simon Green? Simon on Instagram?
Yeah, but I didn't see.
He had a great, he put it on, not on his story, but on his page. The route he had to move around.
Look it up on Instagram.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him, I'll talk to him about it. I love Simon.
I haven't seen him forever.
Simon is such a princess. He's such a good person. He lives in Georgetown.
Does he?
I think you guys are over here for like walk on, but then during remarks we'll be trying to wrap this way, right?
Yeah, we move around.
Thank you.
Works, thank you. World Series is last year, so it's been forever.
I seem like I saw it in one game, the one game I did.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I did the first homestand,
Yeah.
the Nats,
Right.
then do another Nats game.
Yeah.
I did the first two Washington football games, then did another football game. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, wild.
What happened to me? What happened wrong? What days off you this week?
Today and tomorrow.
You're off? Oh, so you're working OT?
Yeah.
Bam.
Today and tomorrow.
Damn, take it, dude.
Well, yeah, no, I'm happy to.
Yeah, 8 hours OT?
Yeah.
All day long.
Hartlow said, I'm sure you've heard a million times, you're gonna be sleeping to death, right? He likes that line.
He does love it. I've lived at that one.
How about you? What do you want?
Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Why are you looking at that?
I'm just looking to see if you put up that it is a 2-minute warning because people ask, my friend, I don't even know who it is that's talking.
That's why I didn't post it on Instagram.
I know the feeling. It's stressful. The 2-minute warning is
Oh,
very
yeah.
stressful.
Oh, tell me about it.
You get a small size. Are you gonna do that? The 2-minute
You hit a
warning?
15. You hit a 15.
No, that's a 16% thought, it's 16, yeah. And it's like, and I cropped it. And I backed up there a little bit.
I put them in there.
Probably could have done with a 24 if you had one, you know? Oh, thank you.
No, they're just trying to. Yeah, what lines are you having?
16 to 35 and a crop.
Oh, wow.
It's got a crop on it. Really? Wow. But I went all the way back against the door, you know, so you could see them. Not really, just kind of tucked in, you know, the statue sits away from the edge. So I'm, you know, this actually, you know, like that much statue. So I'm actually against the wall of the door frame.
Okay.
Yeah, and then look up at the panels. Like 14 different. Yeah, those 3 in a row. Different colors. Click, click.
Fluorescent tube lighting.
Correct. My case is just. Is it snowing? No. Snowing?
We're just making it easier to work. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe the moving chairs in the living room. Oh my God, we're still on. Tom will flip out.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's still warm, but. I do, I like to see what they did. You know, I just think, you know, it's interesting, you know. No.
It's pretty good, yeah. Oh, I can't do this. Screenshot.
Is it you?
So funny.
I didn't even know that.
So Let's go next to Instagram. Thank you, Carlos, for. Scotty says that, you know, first, last. I asked him, Scotty, what are you doing here? He's like, we were like 501 when he was on the hill, chilling. I said, well, you know, first, after last. I'll keep that in mind for the rest of my life. Yeah, at least, if you're not a good photographer, at least you can read it. You're gonna get a good position.
At some point.
What are you doing? Because he's going tomorrow or something. Are you gonna be?
But I was also off. We don't have any idea, so I don't know. Yeah, you know,
I don't think it is coming back. Because I've had that. Yeah. So that 2 days ago. Yeah, one day when we took a month. Oh my. Now I'm snowboarding. I got home and.
Did you get a shot for that? You just rested?
Stressed.
Yeah.
What was it with pills and everything? It's like go away. No. That's what happened when you're fighting 20-year-old girls. It's like, yeah, because I'm 25, they're like huge. Kick your ass.
Remember that?
Albert just texted me, wants to know if you're, he's not getting through, he wants to know if you're available tomorrow. Should snow. Right. Should snow, what I was asking. No problem.
I legitimately have no signal.
I know.
I'm too gullible.
No, you?
How much snow are we getting?
6 inches.
No.
That's like 7 years combined.
Except for snow again.
Yeah.
Wait, what? The year I came to town?
5 feet.
Yeah, yeah. I had 45 inches in front of the mailbox. And I had to shovel the mailbox out in Minnesota side.
So 3 feet, and then 2 days later, it's another 2 feet.
No, it was unbelievable. It was so, I mean, if I had, no, he wasn't here yet. He wasn't up here yet. Actually, I think Rob was still.
Oh, it was in 2010.
Right, because he.
It was in 2010.
Yeah, no, I moved up there.
No,
So there was nothing
made the mistake a few weeks back with my chunks. It didn't come. I don't know when that was.
I'll tell them the story about your call with your boss. I love this.
Margaret?
Should be close. Thank you. I'll get an email ready.
He would think that's hilarious. Oh, yes, he would. Joe, this is Joe Biden. You met Obama. He's 8 months old. Obama held him.
Oh, really?
Obama live photos of Obama holding him. I told the first lady, I said, I'll pick him up on Tuesday. Just say, careful what you wish for. What was the event? It was just a Christmas party.
Oh, that's funny.
No. Are you talking about Greg or Joe Biden?
Hey guys, it's Peter at the Pentagon. 2-minute warning to President Biden.
Minute warning, everyone.
In the briefing room. 2-minute warning, President Biden. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a pool, so I'm a tertiary, fairly interesting thing. That's him, there he is.
President's in the room.
Well, good afternoon. It is a tremendous privilege to welcome President Biden and Vice President Harris to the Department of Defense. Their visit to the Pentagon shows the importance that they place on our national security, and importantly, the deep value that they place in the men and women of our department. You know, I've had the privilege of working closely with President Biden to tackle tough issues under intense and often high-pressure situations. And I know firsthand his commitment to defending our nation and his steadfast support of the men and women that he now leads as our Commander-in-Chief. He knows well the necessity of making tough choices with regard to our scarce resources and the importance of revitalizing our alliances and our partnerships. And he knows we in this department will always be ready to fight and win should he call upon us. But he also believes that his first call should be to our diplomats, with us in full support. And when the president talks about leading from a position of strength, this is what he means. The strength that comes from teamwork and cooperation, and from defense and diplomacy, working together with agency partners and allies big and small. And that's how he is marshaling our government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's how he started to take on some of the most challenging threats we face around the world. Mr. President, thank you for visiting us today and for the trust and confidence that you've placed in us. We will do all we can to make sure that you and Vice President Harris are always leading from that position of strength. And Madam Vice President, I know that you share the President's vision and that you believe strongly in the work that we do to defend our nation. In your lifetime of support to the American people and your outstanding and outspoken support of service members, especially our veterans, gives me great confidence that you will fight to make sure that our military remains the strongest and the most capable fighting force on the planet. And so we're grateful for your support, and I look forward to working with you to tackle our country's most pressing security challenges in the year ahead. Mr. President and Madam Vice President, thanks again for honoring us with your visit. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
These guys are tall. Thank you, Secretary Austin, and for your warm welcome today, and for your leadership, and to the personnel here at the Pentagon, both civilian and uniformed. Thank you for your dedication and for your discipline. And thank you for keeping our nation safe. Over the years, I have visited bases in California, and I've also traveled to meet with service members stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan. The service members I've met, our troops around the world, face daunting challenges, but they do not flinch. They do not let their energy flag. They defend our country, they deter our enemies, and they sometimes do it all thousands of miles away from their homes and their families. Service and sacrifice is in your DNA. It defines who you are. It defines what you do. It defines how we lead worldwide. And today, as we face global threats to our climate and to our health, to our physical security and cybersecurity, your work is of profound importance and consequence. And that's why the President and I are here today, to tell you that we stand with you, and we stand for you. You are the best and the bravest fighting force in the world. You know that success comes not just from training and equipment, though that is certainly crucial, but also from clarity in vision and in mission, in strategy and in tactics. It comes not only from force, though when we must fight, we will fight to win, but also from diplomacy, development, and our democratic principles. That is what we pledge to you. We will always honor your service and sacrifice. We will always support you because your success ensures our nation's security, because your success ensures our nation's success. You have wise and steadfast leadership in Secretary Austin and Chairman Milley, and you have a commander-in-chief. We have a commander-in-chief in our country who knows from personal experience the burden that you and your families carry. He has so much respect for each and every one of you, as do I. As you know, this is Black History Month, and while we celebrate that part of America's history every day, let us honor also today the Black soldiers who fought at the Battle of Bunker Hill, the Black infantrymen of the Civil War, the Black waves of World War II, the many courageous Americans who throughout our history have answered the call to duty. They didn't just join to make history, they joined to serve, and all of you joined to serve. So as we next hear from our president, let me just end where I began. A few months ago in Ohio, I met the mother of one of the service members I met in Kabul, a soldier by the name of Shayla. And her mother was so proud of her daughter. And she came up to me and she said, "You remember my daughter?" She showed me a picture of her. And she asked me would I call Shayla and leave her a message. And it was a simple message. I told her how thankful I was and her nation is for her service. And I'm thankful to all of you. And of course, so is our president, your president. So is our nation. So may God bless you, and may God bless America. And I think we're going to switch in and introduce the president.
I'm sorry.
Are you going to introduce the president?
Well, thank you, Madam Vice President. Now, if I may, just a few more words before the President takes the podium. And these words are about family. As most of you know, I had the privilege of serving with his son, Bo, in Iraq, when Bo was a captain with the Delaware National Guard. And Bo was an absolutely outstanding officer and a good man. And you know, I knew that pretty much the moment that I met him, a good man. Now, Captain Biden's colleagues admired him, and they looked up to him, and he looked after them. And that dedication lives on in his parents. You know, even before her first day at the White House, our First Lady, Jill Biden, announced that she would relaunch Joining Forces. And as you know, that's a public-private initiative to support service members, veterans, and their families. And just last week, Dr. Biden and Dr. Fauci participated in a town hall with Blue Star families addressing their concerns about COVID vaccines. And so the Biden family knows what service to country feels like. They understand sacrifice, and they know how to look after those who look up to them for leadership. And as the Commander-in-Chief, I know that President Biden will always ask the tough questions about what we're doing to keep Americans safe. And equally important, what leaders are doing to take care of the men and women charged with this profound responsibility. We are very fortunate to have him here with us today, and we are enormously grateful for his leadership. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce to you our Commander-in-Chief, President Joe Biden.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Secretary, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. I want to thank Secretary Austin for welcoming the Vice President and me to the Pentagon today. It's good to be back. Before I begin, I have some welcome news that the Saudi government has released a prominent human rights activist, Lloyd L-O-O-L, from prison. She was a powerful advocate for women's rights, and releasing her was the right thing to do. It's been a busy day. Earlier, I announced steps we've taken to impose cost on those responsible for the military coup in Burma. And I've just concluded a briefing with the civilian and military leadership where I laid out my national security priorities, and I want to share the message directly with the Department of Defense staff all around the world. Because each of you, whether you're newly enlisted, a career officer, a non-commissioned officer, or a civilian policy expert, you're essential to how we project our strength around the world, defend America's interests, and advance American leadership in the world. So often, our armed forces and the Department of Defense staff are how the rest of the world encounters America. And you all know as well as anyone that our country is safer and stronger when we lead not just with the example of our power, but with the power of our example. As your Commander-in-Chief, I will never hesitate to use force to defend the vital interests of the American people and our allies around the world when necessary. The central, indispensable mission of the Department of Defense is to deter aggression from our enemies, and if required, to fight and win wars to keep America safe. But I believe force should be a tool of last resort, not first. I understand the full weight of what it means to ask young, proud Americans to stand in the breach. As was referenced by the Secretary, my son both served in Iraq for a year. I'm the first president in 40 years, I'm told, who had a son or daughter who served in a war zone. So I know what it's like being Commander-in-Chief is an enormous responsibility and one that I will never take lightly or easily. I will work with Secretary Austin and leaders around the world to bring responsible end to wars that have dragged on for far too long, while continuing to ensure that terrorist threats cannot endanger the security of the American people. I also know that you are essential to the work of our diplomacy, not only as the ultimate guarantor of our security, but as diplomats yourselves. I got to know Secretary Austin when he was serving as commander of U.S. forces in Iraq. It wasn't just his excellent military leadership, but the many times I met him there, and his strategy. He was a consummate diplomat as well. He worked closely with our ambassador to build relationships with both civilian and military leaders of our coalition partners. Because we are better able to project our power when we're amplifying our strength through our alliances, it was so important. There is no aspect of our agenda of the 21st century leadership where the women and men of the Defense Department do not have a role, whether it's helping curb the pandemic here at home and around the world, or addressing the real threats of climate change that are already costing us billions in impacts on our bases and our national security, or being part of an ongoing fight for racial justice. You are essential to how we must rethink and reprioritize our security to meet the challenges of this century, not the last. We need to take on the dangers and opportunities of emerging technologies, enhance our capabilities in cyberspace, ensure that we are positioned to lead a new era of competition from the deep sea to outer space. And we need to meet the growing challenges posed by China to keep peace and defend our interests in the Indo-Pacific and globally. Today, I was briefed on a new DoD-wide China task force that Secretary Austin is standing up to look at our strategy and operational concepts, technology and force posture, and so much more. The task force will work quickly, drawing on civilian and military experts across the department to provide, within the next few months, recommendations to Senator Austin on key priorities and decision points so that we can chart a strong path forward on China-related matters. It will require a whole-of-government effort, bipartisan cooperation in Congress, and strong alliances and partnerships. That's how we'll meet the China challenge and ensure the American people win the competition of the future. You know, to the incredible individuals who serve in our armed forces, you are unquestionably part of the finest fighting force in the history of the world. You're warriors. The work you do each and every day is vital to ensuring the American people, your families, friends, and loved ones are able to live in peace and security and growing prosperity. And for those of you who raise your hands to sign up to wear the uniform of the United States, we owe you an incredible debt. I've said for many years, less than 1% of Americans do what you do. Put yourself in the line for the rest of the 99% of the Americans you represent. The 99% of us owe you. We owe it to you to keep the faith with our sacred obligation to properly prepare and equip you when we send you into harm's way, and to care for you and your families both while you're deployed and after you return home. You're incredible heroes and incredible patriots. I will never, ever dishonor you. I will never disrespect you. I will never politicize the work you do. That goes for our civilian professionals as well as the career military. As I've said, this is personal for me. The Biden family is a military family. We learned firsthand some of what your loved ones experienced when Bo was deployed to Iraq for a year with his unit in the Delaware National Guard. We dealt with the stress of his absence and the daily joys of life, and we worried constantly about his safe return. We felt overwhelming pride in his courage and his patriotism. You're all the best our country has to offer. You live by a creed of selfless sacrifice. And for many of you, the journey to service has not been easy. February is Black History Month, as the Vice President pointed out. Before we leave today, Vice President Harris and I are going to visit the hall honoring the long history of Black Americans fighting for this country, even when their contributions were not always recognized or honored appropriately. But those contributions have nevertheless helped push our country toward greater equality. From the bravery of the free and enslaved descendants of Africans who fought with the colonial forces in our revolution, to the Black regiments that joined to fight for the Union and for their own freedom in the Civil War, to the Buffalo Soldiers, including Henry O. Flipper, the first African-American graduate of West Point, and Cathay Williams, the first African-American woman, Cathay, who enlisted in the United States Army. Imagine the incredible love it must have taken for the proud Tuskegee Airmen to fly more than 15,000 sorties in battle when their own freedom was not fully realized in their own country. Imagine the determination of Roscoe Robinson, who started at West Point 1 year before Harry Truman issued the order to officially desegregate the armed forces, and arose to become the first African-American four-star general. Imagine the bravery of the 22 African-Americans awarded the Medal of Honor for their service in the Vietnam War while struggling for civil rights at home was continuing. It's all part of a long history of barrier-breaking service. Right now, more than 40% of our active duty forces are people of color. And it's long past time that the full diversity and full strength of our forces reflected at every level in this department, including our Secretary of Defense. This organization thrives and succeeds because of our people. So the final point I'd like to make today is to give you my personal commitment that this administration, from myself and the Vice President Harris to Secretary Austin on down, is dedicated to ensuring that every single person is treated with dignity and respect. That's why we moved so quickly to overturn the discriminatory ban on transgender service, and why General Austin's first memo was a directive to take a sexual assault in the military seriously. Every single person, no matter their gender identity, sexual orientation, race, or religious background, deserves to feel safe in the ranks and to have their contributions valued. It's on all of us to stand up, to speak out when you see someone being abused. This is an organization that has defeated American enemies on land, sea, and air, and been defined by the way we treat others. So I know this is not beyond us. Not if each of us makes this a priority as well. So thank you for welcoming us, Secretary Austin. It's good to be back in the Pentagon. I wish I could meet more of you in person today, but I look forward to spending more time with you and all the places you serve around the world. I know this is the honor of my lifetime. The honor of my lifetime is to serve as your Commander-in-Chief. So thank you for what you do for this country. May God bless you and protect you, and may God protect our troops deployed around the world. Every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right.
Mr. President, any interest in punishing China for not being truthful about COVID last year? And the story now, the WHO is saying COVID came from an animal.
I got it.